Hey Wargamers, Purple Druid here, and it is time to talk about solo gaming and Kal Arath in particular. This is a fantastic resource from Castle Grief. I highly recommend it. It's about to get a whole bunch more of these page tabs. What we're going to do is we're going to do some practices with some solo gaming, because I need to improve my skills in order to complete the work that I want to do on the board game / war game / RPG thing that I've been working on for the last couple years. And it's kind of stalled out because I don't know where else to go. So what we've got here is a little adventure. I did a kind of a sample adventure. I didn't want to record it because I didn't know what I was doing, and I didn't want you to have to sit through all the flipping. But in any case, we're starting here in the village of High Fork, population 3,000, which is where we have Brundax the Mystic, who has been given a doom by his patron to travel to the place of desolation and spend 5 days and nights in meditation. So we knew that much, and we're like, where's the place of desolation? I don't know. So we made some rolls on the tables in here, oracles and story questions, and came up with a little description, which I will share with you here. Brundax the Mystic completed his apprenticeship and summoned the demon to make his pact and seal his doom. The demon commands him to travel to the Temple of Desolation and meditate for 5 days and nights. His master tells him about a previous apprentice who claimed he had discerned the location of this temple. This apprentice is now an advisor to the Baron at Castle Trollfen. Brundax will recruit and hire a warrior to accompany him to Trollfen. So what's going to happen, and I guess the meat of this adventure, is that Brundax is going to recruit a warrior, and he's going to travel from here in High Fork over to here, to the Baron's castle in the Trollfens. These are the Trollfens over here. So, to that end, I rolled to see what was available for companions. And so we have Lorgan the Warrior, and we have Dotraf the Explorer. And she actually has some knowledge of the area north and west of High Fork. So Brundax hired both of these two, and so the three of them are going to go on an adventure. And so they're going to start from here and follow the river west around the mountains, and then make their way across to the Trollfens, where Dotraf has some knowledge of where they are. So what I did after that is I went ahead and got some smaller hex paper out, and I drew a superimposed 25-mile grid. So these are 25-mile hexes to match the 25-mile hexes on the big map. Each of the smaller hexes then is 5 miles. And what we're going to do is I made up a table, as in Appendix A of the Dungeon Master's Guide, for breaking down what's in the smaller hexes. If I go and blow this up to a 5-mile hex, actually I'll do it on the larger sheet, so the whole page will be a 5-mile hex, and then we'll have 1-mile hexes like this and 0.2-mile hexes inside. And then we'll also use the Judges Guild charts for that. But for right now, I went ahead and made this chart. And so what we have is on day 1, it's early summer. The group has decided to make a foray into the mountains and search for more blossom to sell to an herbalist in town for some quick cash. Having just generated these characters, they don't have any money. They don't have a lot of equipment. They are not ready to go on a big overland adventure, which effectively, I don't know if you can see all this, but they're going to go from here all the way down to here. So that's a lot of 25-mile hexes, and that's a long way to travel. So they want to get some funds, so they're going to go get some blossoms they can sell. So on day one, they're going to follow the river west into the foothills. So this, we're guessing these are foothills over here. Because they're on the river, I'm not going to roll again because they're on the grasslands. This is a grasslands hex. So they're only going to get 5 miles because their travel time is slowed down. One, because it's hot. Yesterday was a windstorm, and today it is very hot. 1/2 speed travel and -2 to foraging rolls. Foraging also means you go half speed, which takes you down to 1/4 speed. And they decided to go ahead and forage to see if they can't, who knows? They don't want to be out here a super long time. So they do forage, and I rolled a 6. However, with the -2 to the heat, I took it down to a 4, which was just a good harvest, and they were able to collect 3 rations. So they actually wound up feeding themselves for the day. However, they wound up not getting very far. Also, while they were foraging, they discovered the weathered skull of a dead giant. And Brundax believes he can get some silver for it. And I went and looked at the treasure tables, and it's comparable to something that could be about 25 silver coins. So we're going to value that skull at 10 plus 3d6 silver. Other than that, there were no encounters today or overnight. So they are right here. Let's use a pencil. Maybe you can see that better. So they're right here. So day 2, the heat wave continues and a windstorm. So there's no travel, and they're down to a total of 7 days rations. Now on day 3, a light rain falls, bringing relief from the heat and the wind. So the group decides to push on as far as they can during the day. So that means they can travel 1 whole hex, which would be 5 sub-hexes. 1, 2, 3, 4. Did I do that right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 5. That's close enough. Anyway, so they're... what the heck? I'll put them up here. I didn't do that right because I didn't measure properly. There we go. So they followed the river all the way up to the headwaters. During their travel, so somewhere along here, they come across the broken wheel of a battle barge, and while it is quite valuable, they'll need wagons and teams to move it. So Raff marks the location on her map, and the group doesn't see any other animals or other travelers during this time. At dusk, they make camp and do spot a giant owl flying overhead. So let's go ahead and put that wheel. Let's put that wheel here. And then we get to day 4. Now they're still here. This is where they are at the end of day 3. So on day 4, the day dawns clear, and the group spends their time foraging and looking for the more blossoms. Because they're doing all day, I'm going to give them 2 foraging rolls. And so they roll a 4 for +3 rations and a 5 for +5 rations. There is no point of interest discovered, and there are no encounters during the day or at night. So basically they have a net +5 rations there. Now on day 5, on day 4, they're exploring and looking for the blossoms. So I'm going to say they went and investigated this entire hex here as best they could. That's a 1, and that is under mountains. That's a river. Well, of course it is. Let's roll again. 18 mountain, and 18 is a super steep peak. Okay, so what that means is this particular hex, I'm going to change it up a little bit. This is going to be the steep peak, which is 5,000. And then we're going to make this a lower peak. But it's still a mountainous area. And then let's go to day 5. Good weather continues. So we'll do 2 more foraging rolls. We get a 4, which is plus 3 rations, and a 6, which is plus 5 rations and the herbs. So this is really exciting. .raf is going to roll on the herb chart with advantage, and everyone is going to spend a fate point in order to get a 5 on that roll, because that's what they want to do. So we're going to say that they are going to investigate this next hex up here, and that's a 19 in the mountains. A 19 is grasslands, so this will be just grasslands. So I'm just going to draw a little. And so we rolled, and sure enough, we got 2 5s. So we definitely found more blossom, and I'm rolling for D3 units. It came up with a 3, so that is 150 silver worth of more blossoms. There were no points of interest, there were no encounters, and at the end of the day, they were up to a total of 14 rations. On day 6, good weather continues, and they decide that it's time to return to High Fork. They've got the stuff they needed. They haven't run into any monsters. They're going to go home. So there's no point of interest, and they do, however, have an encounter. 2d6 Kuyu cave people. So there's 4 of them. Their reaction was neutral. The explorer, .raf, she has presence of 1, so she gets to add +1 to the reaction roll. So a 6 + 1 for a 7. The Kuyu carry wooden trinkets, which they were willing to trade for rations. So the 14 trinkets are worth 2 silver each for a total of 28 silver, and they took the 4 rations from the group. Now, while the group was setting up camp, they're approached by a group of 9 poor travelers. The travelers explained that their small settlement 3 days to the north, which would be 1, 2, 3 up here, has been overrun by ghouls. So Brundax welcomes them into the camp, shares rations with them, and lets them know that High Fork is less than a day's travel, and they can find assistance there. In fact, they can travel back with them. And so that will take us from here to day 7, which will be here. Well, they would have traveled to here for day 6 and 1 whole day back. On day 7, the day dawns partly cloudy, and Brundax, his companions, and the poor travelers return to High Fork. He's able to sell the giant skull for 17 silver. He decides to keep 1 unit of the Moor Blossom because that helps with intelligence checks, and he sells the other 2 along with the trinkets. So the total loot is 17 for the skull, 100 for the blossoms, and 28 for the trinkets, for a total of 145 silver. .raf is assigned to collect the supplies and equipment needed for the trek to Trollfens. So we're going to go ahead and grab a rope, some more rations, a tool, an average horse to carry a bunch of stuff, 2 shields for .raf and Lorgan, a lamp and some oil, a staff, 2 javelins, and a short bow, which is 151 silver. Lorgan actually had 10 silver left over, so now he's down to 4 silver pennies. And I'm awarding everyone 1/2 of an XP for a very simple mission. They went out into the wilderness, they made it back, but I don't think they deserve to really level up for this, because that wasn't really a toughie. So now they have the equipment they believe they need. And so the next part of our adventure, we will retrace our steps here. We'll retrace our steps here and then make our way around and then down to the troll fens. So that will be the next adventure. And in the meantime, what will happen is they're not going to be able to get lost here unless they run into a forest. So I'm not going to worry about rolling against lost and the because of the mountains. So, but what I do want to check is what is the terrain around here. So I have that in advance. So let's go ahead and finish Hex 2522. And like I said, we're in the mountain column here. So let's do this one here. That's a 15. That's going to be another 5,000 foot peak. All right, this one here is a 10. That's going to be a low peak. This one is a 4. That's going to be hills. This one is a 9. And that's going to be mountain. This one here is a 16. That will be a very high mountain. This one is a 4. That's going to be hills. And let's see, let's do this one. 17, tall mountains. And here, 17, tall mountains. And here, 5, hills. And here, 8, mountain. And then let's do this one. That's a 16. That's a tall mountain. This one is a 12. That's a short mountain. This one is a 7. Short mountain. And then let's see here. Let's do this one. That's a 10. Short mountain. Here, 15 tall. And here, 18 tall. And the last one is a 7, small mountain. Okay, so that gives us the whole. Hex. And I'm going to just decide that these will be grasslands up here. So that's what we've got. These are river and grassland. And that's where we are. So the group is currently hanging out in the village of High Fork. They've got their supplies. And on our next adventure, they're going to head back around the mountains, which need a name. I think we're going to call them the Dragonback Mountains. I believe I wrote that in here already. Let's see. Maybe not. Okay. In any case, that's where we are. Thanks for watching. I'm hoping that this gets more interesting and we get faster at it and learn more about doing these procedures. I'm really looking forward to this whole project. And as I said, thank you for watching. Have a great day and keep on gaming.